Hello, everyone, and welcome to session 2 of Apocalypse Key's Romulose. My name is Alyssa. My pronouns are they, them, and I will be your keeper of doors. I'm going to pass it to the players to introduce themselves, starting with Rook.
Hello everyone, I am Rook. My pronouns are they, them, and I'll be playing Marigold, who uses he, him, and nothing bad will happen to him today. Cass, you go.
Hi, I'm Kaz, and my pronouns are she, they, and I play Leo Stan, whose pronouns are she, her, and she's having a great time right now. Please don't even ask her any questions or look her in the eye. Lola.
Hi, I'm Lola. My pronouns are they, them, and I will be playing Ropo, whose pronouns are also they, them. And hmm, I don't know how to feel or how Ropo feels other than pining. Lots of pining. So, Glyza.
Oh, hey, it's me. Hi, I'm Glyza. I go by they, them. Today I will be playing May, also goes by they, them. And they're quite happy. And I think that should be changed. I think that should that doesn't fit this world. Happiness? No. And back to Alyssa.
Okay. Previously on Apocalypse Keys, we met our beautiful monsters who found themselves in the lobby of the oldest house, an ever shifting, extra dimensional entity that had trapped them inside of it. The group didn't know how they got there, but quickly found a little sign in sheet narrating many previous visits that they also didn't remember. And when they focused on particular entries in the sheet, it also shared memories and secrets about the monsters and about everyone else who has previously been called into the oldest house. It's fine, just a little like sign in. Leo got stuck in a closet that turned into an interdimensional void filled with statues of everyone she had ever loved, as well as thousands of more people who she had not yet turned to stone, but probably will. She was rescued by Marigold, who asserted control over the oldest house to get her back. Following the guidance of the oldest cat, a terrible hairless sphinx cat covered in shifting ancient purple tattoos, with whom May was immediately enamored, much to the dismay of everyone else, the group went upstairs to a large office filled with rows upon rows of computers that displayed haunting messages and entreaties for release and rescue. Robo found a post it note from themselves warning them not to trust the cat, although the witch, who we don't know who is, was trustworthy. Chester, Leo's childhood companion turned statue, found another post it note, as of yet unread, and stuffed it in his mouth. Uh, Marigold started AOL instant messaging on one of the computers, and it turned out to be his husband, who, of course, has been dead for several centuries. And the computer messages from his husband entreated him to for rescue, which at the end of the episode, Marigold sure did try to do. And that is where we're picking up with Marigold deciding that, yes, I am going to restore my husband from the void connected by this computer. And how does that look, Ruck? What are you doing?
Um, so firstly, I need everyone to know that I am too young to have ever used AOL. Anyway, um,
How dare you?
How
Shaking
dare
hands with Rook right
you?
now.
Wow.
so Marigold, this statuesque horned harbinger of the apocalypse is feeling a lot of emotions right now. He is tired and he is scared. And more than anything, does he just want to see his husband again? So he kind of he turns to look at his friends. The acrylic paint tears streaming out of his eyes, down his cheeks. And he turns back to the computer, hands above the keyboard, and just reaches in and pulls. And Marigold, this gentle soul who can bully the oldest house into submission. He is crowned by dreams. He is exalted by nightmares, and he will not be denied. And he pulls and he pulls, and to him, he sees the face of his husband, Michael. The soft blonde hair, the kind eyes, the warm smile. And he just kind of like, he just holds Michael's cheeks and he goes, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. You're not alone. Like, we can go home. We can't go to our home. That place got sold like ages ago. But like, you can come to my home and we can make it our home. And you're here, you're safe, and I'm here. And what do I actually see?
So, Marigold, beloved, Michael reaches up a hand gently, one to your cheek, one to your horns, and sort of drags his fingers up and says, "Oh, you you figured out how to bring them back, how to restore them, how to piece them back together?" And for everyone else, you do see Marigold embracing someone who you wouldn't recognize. Michael, I think, died before any of you met Marigold, but embracing a figure clearly deeply in love. But this figure, the face is clear and the face is true. But as the body, sort of, as you look down their body, they are enmeshed in shadow and in almost chains of thick, like oil paint, almost like the color of Marigold's tears, but like desaturated, and something in them almost like vibrating in a way that, yeah, it should not be happening with paint or with chains, really.
May is gonna grab a keyboard and going to poke this Michael figure, whatever. Just to see. I'm not gonna touch it, but I'm gonna poke it with a. I was gonna poke it with a stake, but I don't know if I could find a stake. So I just grabbed a long keyboard and just sort of like poke it, just to make
Yeah.
sure it's okay.
You go in for a poke, and Michael's forearm just sort of like slurps in the keyboard. So if you try and pull it out, like poke, and you try and pull back, and it is not giving up. Like,
Awesome. May is gonna do a couple more.
like more keyboards. You're
Oh
just
yeah,
like
for sure.
creating like a
Yeah,
little,
just like a little keyboard poking stuff.
You've
While
gone
this
from
very
board.
sweet moment with Marigold and Michael is happening, May is like, there's something wrong here. Look at how he's holding on to these keyboards. And if May isn't stopped, they're going to get an actual monitor and try to shove that in at some point. But right now, they're basically shoving keyboard after keyboard, basically.
So while May is attempting to turn Marigold's beloved into a Katamari, what are Ropo and Leo doing?
This appears unnatural to us, right? Like, this is not cool.
Call it not cool.
Yeah, I'm taking like another keyboard and I'm smashing the computer.
Interesting.
I think the Rocco is usually quite stoic, but in seeing all this is somewhat torn and seems to withdraw very much into themselves, even more so. So like the brief glimpse of face that you got under the hood is receded again and is almost looking on at this point, maybe waiting to see what the others do, or maybe just kind of caught in feeling something that they don't quite understand or are not willing to try to understand.
Yeah, and Robo, because you have such an intimate relationship with death and because you were a medium in life,
Mhm.
you can feel that this figure of Michael, it's almost like it's in like stasis is somehow blocking out everything else. Like you feel as if death wants this figure. Death wants this person and cannot reach him.
Ooh.
Right. So almost like when Michael died, Michael never actually went with death properly. He was
Right.
stolen.
Exactly. So I don't know if that changes anything for you, if you're still gonna be sort of torn, but putting that out there.
Well, I'm like looking at my moves going, well, this could be a I don't know. I think Robert doesn't know how to feel, so it's probably gonna watch for a little bit longer, but
I'm curious what
might say
happens after
something.
Leo smashes the
Yeah.
computer.
Stop it, stop it.
Yeah,
May is just like busy, like
stuffing things on this poor man. Um, yeah, Leo, you go to smash the computer and the keyboard, just like with Michael's form, it gets sort of pulled in, but it's not like sort of sticking to the surface. It is fully pulled in to the computer itself. And as it like dissolves into the machine, you see a flare as the sort of acrylic chains around Michael grow brighter.
I look to Marigold and I say, you have to stop that. Whatever you're doing right now, it doesn't seem natural and it's really bad. It looks really bad.
I'm going to like put my hand on Marigold's hand and just sort of like push the hand in to see if it gets sucked in by
Yeah.
Michael or if it doesn't.
I think that probably prompts Ruffle to try and do something. So depending on what happens.
To be
'Cause I
fair,
wanna
if May
see-
didn't do it, I was gonna do it.
I was like, while this is happening, like, okay, so physical objects get sucked in. What if it's Marigold? Like, what if Marigold gets sucked in? I want to see this without thinking. That's probably not something you want to do to your friend, but it's just like, it's just like, hey, Marigold, and pushes the head a little bit deeper.
Leo's grabbing Marigold by the waist and like trying to pull them out of this.
So,
But has no
Marigold's
strength to
in
do
the
so.
middle of just kind of like touching his horns and just being like, "Oh yeah, like it was weird," and then I just get like in the middle of this like tug of war between my two friends, and I'm just like, "Ugh."
Yeah. So, Marigold, you are in a tug of war between your friends, and the hands that you had placed on Michael's face that May sort of pushed further into you, those, it's just flesh. It's your husband. They don't sink into him at all. But the hands that he had placed on your horns, I think that as you're sort of jostled between your friends, between your teammates, those hands sort of start to bleed out into your horns and start covering the top of your head and growing up to where the sort of shattered points of gold float above you, like almost connecting them in again, this subdued, pulsating mess, like the chains that are around Michael's body.
I
And
think
how much of that do I notice?
Uh 0. It's just he has big
Cool.
hands. He has cool, good baker's hands.
Cool, Ropo, you go.
As this begins to happen, the form in the cloak shrinks, and those shadows travel across the ground up, and almost as if to try and form between this pulsating mass and the horns, as if to try and put a barrier between them and almost tear it away and push it away from Ropo. No, from Marigold's horns and himself, almost as if there's this barrier of shadow and mist forming between them. And they'll say, I how did your Michael pass? Because this one has not seen death.
Marigold kind of like looks back up to you and kind of like it glances back at Michael quickly and looks back up to you and he says, natural causes. He was, what, 80? It was quiet. It was peaceful.
It was wrong. It didn't happen as it should have done. Death did not take this one. And I think the shadows are gonna continue to form around Michael, perhaps maybe trying to contain this this pulsating mass, as if trying to become some kind of actual shape and form, or at least stop it from spreading any further from that.
Go ahead and make me a power through darkness roll.
Yeah.
So 2d6 plus however many darkness tokens you would like to spend, and then after you get the result, you can add or subtract bond. Oh dear.
What did you get?
That is a 2.
Oh no.
Do you have enough bonds to make that not?
No, there is. I'm just gonna check how many darkness tokens that I wrote down last time because ouch. Yeah. Oh,
Ooh.
talk about apocalypse. Yeah, I definitely. What do I need to make it up to again?
An 8 would be a success.
No, no, that is not happening. Not at all. Okay. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're okay. So, Robo, your initial instinct is that death hasn't taken this person and it's wrong that they're here. But then you realize, like, they're here and they haven't been taken by death, and maybe whatever happened to them, did this Michael break the veil between the living and the dead? You shouldn't contain them. I mean,
You should let them
perhaps-
go and be free.
Yeah.
exactly. You should see what happens. Maybe they can spread that. Maybe they can help you with this goal of yours.
I think the rest of Ropo follows those shadows that have started to now waver around that form of pulsating Michael. And it's kind of peeling away and coming back together, almost as if Ropo is now there and attempting to actually almost connect or travel through Michael to see what happens.
Interesting.
May is gonna grab Leo's hand
Mhm.
and is going to pull Leo away. And it's gonna be like, well, this is weird.
We have to help them.
Understood, we would. We should. But I don't want you to be dragged into this whatever is happening into it as well. If we die, no one's gonna save them. So just step back a little and see what happens. And then I'm gonna turn to the cat. And I'm gonna go, is this normal? Has this happened before?
Cat is like back arched, would be first standing on end if it had hair and wasn't a terrible hairless cat, hissing at the form of Michael. And he says, "It happened once and it should not happen again."
How do we stop it?
The cat looks sort of between Michael and Marigold and the sort of shadows of Ropo maybe melding into the horrible form of Michael and says, "I think that the first question is, how do you get your friends to, you have to get your friends to let go."
Um,
All right.
while chaos is happening around Leo, she wants to look to an undisturbed part of the room where Chester's probably like hiding. And I want to grasp at keys to see if like there is something I haven't noticed that would help in this situation, or just overall in general. And do I choose to spend darkness tokens with this roll? I'll spend one. I get one from Chester helping me as well. Wow. Okay. Ooh. So that will be an 11 from the roll, and then +2 from the darkness and from Chester. So I overshoot it just a little bit. On an 11 plus, you uncover a key, but there's a significant complication. Cast or fall out. The key will tell you what it is.
Yeah, are you going to keep that or are you going to use bonds to bring it down?
We'll keep it.
Okay. So you look down towards where Chester is, and let's see, which of these keys do I want to give you? Oh, that's fun. Okay. And the he like with only you viewing, his mouth is now open and the post-it note has fallen out. And as you watch, it sort of uncrumbles itself and starts to grow and expand and sort of firm up a little bit. No longer a flimsy piece of paper, but a decent bit of like stretched canvas over a wooden frame. Um, and you see a painting, and it is, at first glance, it looks like the painting that you have destroyed in the past of the field of marigolds that summoned forth our beautiful boy from his nightmare dimension in the first place, that you, Leo, have destroyed in the past. But there's something different about it. There's the sun in the upper corner of the painting is slowly growing and sort of, it feels slow, but it's also, this takes like an instant. It sort of grows and expands and starts taking over the painting. And I think that a sword pops out.
I would like to mark a condition for myself, being reminded of something I truly, truly deeply regret. I think I'll mark the reactive condition. Now I'm just sort of like, I'm just out of my body and just moving how I need to. But I will go and move towards the sword and like wordlessly present it to Mai, and if Roppo and Marigold are like paying it any attention, them as well, and just be like,
May, this is a sword you recognize. This is the sword that Loki used to cut you down,
Oh
that
shit.
caused your descent.
Sweet. That's great. May looks at that sword, smiles, and grabs it. Awesome. Where did you get this?
Points at the painting.
Awesome. I'm going to use my move, Call Me Your Master. And I'm going to speak to both. I'm going to speak to Michael, actually. And using the sword, would use that as a taunting whatever. Just like it's a flashy thing. And would use it to scare Michael, but basically the move is call me your master, and I can make them do something, I guess. We'll see. Let me
Yeah, are
roll
you
first.
going to spend any darkness tokens on this roll?
I don't think I have any.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I haven't. I've been having a good time. Now it's about to be a bad time. But we'll see. I rolled 9. Make
Oh.
success. Oh, I could choose 2. They will fulfill a single command exactly as I wish, and they will grant me new powers temporarily. Describe them. Sweet. So I'm going to look at Michael, and I'm going to tell him to release my friends. That's the command. The powers now is if I so choose, I can absorb things into me temporarily. But that's a power I have now.
Okay. Michael turns his beautiful face towards you, May, and nods, and the sort of the shadows, the paint that had been sort of trying to engulf Marigold's face, that bleeds back until it's just hands and they fall to his side. Ropo, I think that you were enmeshed with Michael of your own volition. It's not that he was pulling to you. So,
Yeah, no, it very much that Rocco had kind of in that thinking of death never took this person, but they're dead, but not, but still alive. How do I? It was very much a kind of let's become this to study it. So yeah, it was very much of Roppel's own volition.
yeah, so you can feel it almost pulling away from you slightly. So, not fully disengaging with you, but if you wanted to chase to continue to study that,
Yeah.
you could.
So the thing is that after that move, do I have 5 darkness tokens, so that means that I am torn between, I do believe. So
Yes.
I think that uh with torn between, I would probably I think I'm probably going to try and go after it. I'm trying to grasp this thing because I want to know. I need to desperately know how to make this work. I need to know how to break this barrier. What is this thing that has done this? So
Yeah. Um,
almost as it begins to draw away from me, it's almost as if those shadows get stronger, and it's as if they're wrapping around those chains that were there before and trying to shroud them and pull them back.
May
yeah.
doesn't know this though, right?
Right.
Cool. May is gonna walk towards Michael and present the end of the sword under Michael's neck, and will say, "What did I say?"
Hey, Marigold, your friend here is threatening your
Yeah.
husband who you recently got back.
I'm gonna real quick take 4 darkness tokens.
Oh, oh,
Nope, that's not how you add. There we go. as Marigold's eyes like turn to May, and the tears, rather than being this like rainbow, multicolored like acrylic paint, all of it just turns red. And kind of like roiling off Marigold is this kind of like watercolor mist that kind of solidifies into these 6 brilliant kind of like golden blades. Actually, not just swords, so like a sword, an axe, different types of bladed weapons, just kind of like 3 on each side, like a pair of wings, as he looks to May and he says, May, stop threatening my husband.
And I'm going to look at Marigold. And I'm going to say, is it really your husband, though? Are you
And
sure?
and because of the power that you're exerting, Marigold, it is genuinely still his face, but now you can see everything else that everyone has been seeing of Michael. The chains and the growing and these grasping shadows that you may or may not associate with Ropo, but probably mean something bad.
You're
So I
smarter than
see,
this, May. Sorry, you're smarter than this, Marigold.
and I just see like the whole shebang. I see the face connected to this horrible, horrible monster. I think the conclusion Marigold comes to is that this was his husband, and because of him, Michael has become this. And Marigold, in this moment, just reacts. And those 6 swords, rather than like, May, you're good, you're fine, you're safe. But they just kind of like, he just kind of like screams in frustration, and the swords just kind of like strike through the mist and attempt to dissipate it. And if this kills whatever this is, that's fine. But that's what Marigold does, just on instinct.
Ropo, you are inside of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
Oh
can
god,
we
oh
take
no.
half? Like, yeah, how does this?
Wait a minute! Wait a minute!
Uh-oh, something's about to go wrong.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So, given that I am inside of this or enmeshed with it in some way, does this do me some kind of harm also?
I think that because you decided to sort of continue pursuing it and following that monstrous instinct, you have a moment as all of the blades start to form up and strike this monster. And you know that you don't have time to study, to learn everything about this creature in the moment, but you could, I mean, you talked to spirits, you've communed with them. You could take this one inside of you, take up its power, make it a part of you in a way that Death wouldn't enjoy particularly. Death would not be pleased with you for doing this, and Marigold might not be pleased with you for doing this, but it would give you all the time in the world to study this abomination.
I mean, it's that
Do
kind
it,
of thinking.
do it, do it, do it.
It's that
Also,
kind of thinking.
Ropo,
Yeah.
you'd be aware that Marigold would not notice if you did that.
Yeah.
He's so oblivious. you'd get away with it from
I
Marigold's
know
perspective.
it's very much kind of like, is there a way that I can strip is there a way to strip some of the essence of what was actually Michael from this? Because maybe later, maybe in a quiet moment, maybe then I can let the dead speak and understand.
Absolutely. I would love for you to be able to do that.
Well, in that case, I think I see Marigold coming, and it's almost as if those shadows kind of double around Michael, and then kind of there's, I guess, if you're not looking incredibly closely or not paying attention to it, you would you wouldn't see it, but there's almost like this kind of wrenching and like tearing, as if like part of this form that was all of these things has kind of been broken down and separated, as those shadows which glow probably change color because they weren't typical shadowy colors like black. It was a very rich, bright, purpley color that is now kind of changing into perhaps this more orange hue that is now stripped away from this figure as Marigold's blades come down.
Yeah. It works. You do it. You are able to sort of take the essence, and I think you do end up, you take both the soul of Michael that had been preserved in this horrible pulsating shadow, and you also take the shadows itself that like tear between living and death into yourself. And as the smoke dissipates, it's simply Robo. Um, the blades sort of almost vibrating in the air as if they had impacted a force field around you and are now just sort of stuck there. And Michael is gone.
May is going to look at Marigold and I'm going to say, sorry you had to do that.
I don't think Marigold says anything, but you kind of just watch as like the swords disappear back into the mist, and where pieces of his horn had come back together, some of those pieces just fall off limply and kind of like hit the floor. They don't even float up around him. Um, as I'm, even though I didn't technically roll for anything, I'm going to say that I am torn between, and I'm going to lose all my darkness tokens. And Marigold is quiet. And I'm just going to mark the despairing condition because I think that's accurate. And he just kind of is quiet, but when you look at him, you kind of see a new focus to figuring out what is going on here and getting out of this goddamned house.
um, Leo walks up to the two of you with. eh, Would I be able to carry the painting that's on the ground?
Sure, yeah, you can go and grab it.
That in one hand, and in the other, a ballpoint pen, like a knife, just sort of waving it around, scared like, uh, and just looks to you two, is like, is everything okay here?
Everything's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Um, I don't know if it means anything, but I found this, and I'll show primarily to Marigold. I'll show the painting.
Marigold looks at it, kind of like touches it gently and just smiles a little bit. Still very quiet, but and just kind of whispers, "Good work."
Um, I'm sorry for destroying the other one. I really didn't mean to. So, um, maybe if we get out of here alive, you can hang this up in your office or your home. Um, it
Hey,
might be nice.
don't worry about that original one. That wasn't your fault. And even if it was, it's just a canvas. It's not a problem.
Leo tears up at hearing the words. It wasn't her fault.
Oh God. Okay.
Okay, that's good to know. Um, uh, also, where's Ropo?
I
Um,
think.
Just points.
Sorry, go on.
no, May doesn't answer. May doesn't respond. May is staring at the sword in their hands.
Robble will kind of come up back in their cloak and cloak form, and those shadows have kind of coalesced back to some semblance of where they're supposed to be when you have shadows. So always moving, always kind of not glitching, as it were, but just constantly moving. Where it's like, I'm here. I have always been
Ah,
here.
sorry, I'm very used to you being in the same room as me. Please continue.
Hmm. I will look to the grate that was envisioned last time. I think I did point
Yeah.
it last time, and will say, perhaps this room no longer has any answers for us. Maybe we should find out where that goes,
Maybe
or
it leads to the witch, you know? And apparently the witch is trustworthy, and the cat isn't. So, yeah, maybe we should go through the vent, though. I don't know if I can get up there.
yes, perhaps there is another way through this, or perhaps not. As I had that vision through, like, through the vent, were there offshoots from it? Does it look like that the place that was envisioned with that figure had doors, or
I think that there were other ways to get through, but I think that also as you are talking about the vent and as Leo says, like, I don't know if I can get through it, it sort of accommodatingly starts to grow and take over the wall. And the grate sort of falls off into a little ladder for you to climb up, and it is fully person sized.
Hmm.
Well, that's not good.
Wait, let me try something. I'm also not really sure if I'll ever come across $1 billion in my life. Anyone? No? Okay. Um, well, who wants to go first?
is the house
I
has accommodated our needs?
May is gonna go first, and with the sword, and offer their arm to the cat. Do you want to ride?
The cat butts up against your legs and circles you again before jumping up onto your arm and sort of draping himself across your shoulders.
And I climb up and walk in.
Yeah, I will say that as you start progressing down through this sort of vent hallway, the hilt of the sword in your hand starts to warm slightly
Mhm.
and the blade glows.
May talks to this sword and says, "You little bitch," and just continues.
Leo chases after May.
I think Ripple will begin to flow towards it, though we'll turn back for Marigold. Shall we?
Marigold gives you a smile and says, "I think we shall," and just kind of like holds out an elbow. Also, so both of us are very old people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we don't have to linger on this moment for longer than it takes for me to say it. However, Marigold will kind of lean into you and kind of say, "Is this like that Among Us thing that Leo keeps talking about?"
Well, Ripple isn't obviously. It's like curious, perhaps.
A really good
You
game. You
should
should
ask
try it
her.
out.
You're just shouting from further in the crate.
I had Among Us. My ears are burning.
Uh, okay,
Yeah.
I'm putting myself back on mute. Goodbye.
So those like the shadows that kind of so Ripple themselves does not actually reach out to hold your arm, but those shadows will kind of curl themselves over the arm that is held out, and they will flow walking or flow beside you as you go.
And I think that with that, we will go to break a little early because my audio is being wonky in my ears. So we will see y'all in like 5, 10, 15 minutes. Hello and welcome back. We left off on our group of monsters leaving the computer room after murdering slash consuming Marigold's dead husband. And now they have taken to the vents and are following and they are following Ropo's vision from the first episode. Robo, are you trying to guide people like in the same direction as you saw in your vision? Or are you following? I think there are a few places where the vents branch off.
I think that there is there is an offshoot of my shadow magic that is like has flowed ahead of them all and is sort of guiding them that way, though there is a pause at every vent, at every offshoot it comes to, and almost as if waiting for somebody else to, if they make the decision to go down a different one or continue on.
At one of these pauses, because I have been bad and not been ticking down the doomsday clock, we are going to do that now. So as you pause, nothing happens in the vent itself, which is really more of a hallway at this point because the house is gracefully adjusted for your human heights.
Human.
Through the grates of one of the offshoots, you can hear the sort of click as dozens of projectors descend from the ceiling. And there is all you can see from the vent are just flashes of light. But the cat along like where it's sort of hung around May's neck,
Scarf.
sort of yes, the cat scarfed around May's neck sort of pauses and its giant amber eyes sort of fixate on that particular exit.
At this point, May is explaining to Leo why they don't believe that they should be hiding the fact that they're the imposter because it just makes no sense. Like, if you're gonna be an alien killer, right? You want to get rid of them as quickly as possible. You shouldn't be hiding, pretending. What is with this voting thing? I am the powerful one. I should be able to just do what I want if I want to. And then notices the cat looking at that exit.
I mean, I completely agree with you. But you know that's how the game is made. I don't make the rules. I'm sorry. I wish I could
We
change
should
it for
make
you.
a new game.
Yeah, yeah. Um, what's what's the cat looking at? Why have we stopped?
I don't know. Bunch of lights? What is that? What's the name of the cat again? I think we got a name.
So it was
Which
just the
cat?
oldest cat. I can't remember what you decided its
Oldie,
name would be.
Oldie, yeah.
Oldie.
I was like, hey, Oldie, what is that? What's happening
Yeah,
over there?
freeloader, honestly, but you know.
Uncharacteristically, the cat does not respond, but I think that his tail is sort of twitching against you. And he like almost like tries to ratatouille you over
Yeah.
towards. Yeah.
Biscuits me over towards it. All right.
Are we looking at like a fork in the pathway?
So yeah, I think that there is a way ahead and then there's a small like less than a foot of offshoot that ends in another grate that through which you can see the lights in the room.
Oh, and the cat's looking towards the grate right now.
Yes.
I think as May is being led by the oldest cat, she looks over and says, we shouldn't trust the cat. I don't think we should go that way. The note said that we should trust the witch, not the cat, so I think we shouldn't trust the cat. It's like if somebody were trying to lead you into a room in Among Us and they were trying to kill you. I think we should instead follow our instincts and go somewhere else.
I'm going to look at the cat. Are you the imposter in this situation, Oldie?
You
The cat looks up at you, finally tearing its eyes away from the light, and just says, "Are we not all an imposter in some ways?"
You're correct.
That's not what a
Um,
trustworthy person says. They just say no.
I mean,
I
I go ahead,
I
Marigold.
I I look to Ropo and I say two things. One, I'm so sorry I brought this evil into existence with them talking about Among Us. I hate this. I hate what I've done. Secondly, where do you think we should go? It was your vision.
Yes. Well, as much as I do believe that it was death leading me here, I think at this point their kind of general shape will change, and instead of being that kind of strong, square jawed like face that you kind of see beneath the hood, it changes and softens and becomes different along with that orange glow. It's like, but I am unsure. We could continue on, but perhaps we also need to know the way of these other rooms, these other places, in case, well, clearly the other version of myself was wrong. They did not stop the oldest house.
Um,
Plus, if we're talking about which one's more fun, flashy lights, no flashy lights. Flashy lights is clearly gonna win here.
the last flashy lights we saw with the computer monitors that almost swallowed Marigold. I don't know if fun is really
I
something
think
we
that
can.
went well.
Uh, I'll give it a 3 out of 5. I would like to send Chester, if I could, to scout the rest of the hallway to see if there's like to see what might wait for us if we continue down this regular pathway.
Yeah, I think, a minute goes by, there's sort of light clinking maybe that only you notice as
Hmm.
Chester sort of blinks down the hallway.
Ignore that. Don't
Um,
worry.
and eventually he appears again, just like,
2 thumbs up. Okay. Um, and I want to ask you, Alyssa, is it recommended for us to stick together as a group or split up, or like what would be best sort of like in a meta sort of like context here for you?
yeah, no, either way is fine. I think that splitting up is always fun because I love splitting parties, but also like y'all are fun together. So
Yeah.
follow
uh,
your heart.
yeah, I think Leo says, you know, I can't trust that cat, uh, I think we might find something worse than we saw in the computer room if we go there, and I don't like how everything is changing and being weird. And if anybody wants to come with me, we can go down somewhere that is safer. Don't ask me how I know it's safe. I just do. But we should go down the rest of the hallway, I think.
Hmm.
Are there any other indications other than like that is the correct path? Like, can I?
I mean, you can just look out the grate. You don't
Yeah.
have to go into it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I might suggest that perhaps we should just look.
I am for Leo. You know I trust you with my life, and I will absolutely follow you if that's what you want to do. And May says that in the same like tone that I just said it. Absolutely will follow you if that's what you want to do. But can I at least look and see what's there without totally going in?
Mm, fine.
Awesome. And May sort of like presses their face against the grate.
Yeah. To you, may the lights resolve themselves into video footage projected on all the walls of this empty room and onto the floors and ceilings as well. And it's, you can see visions of you from what must be different timelines, because in some of them, you're wandering through the hallways of the house, but your eye isn't scarred over. And in some of them, you're carrying not just this bright sword, but a silver sword that glows faintly. And in another, you're side by side with Loki. And then in the sort of largest projected on the wall directly across from the grate, you can see your beloved, hated lover, rival, the person who caused your fall, pounding at they're basically, it looks like they're trapped in the wall, pounding at it, trying to escape. But of course, it's just a projection.
Awesome.
It's just a video.
Uh, May is gonna look at Leo. Leo, I adore you, but I'm gonna have to go stab some stuff.
May.
And just opens the grate and jumps in.
I think Leo is like still got the reactive condition, so I think she just jumps in after May.
Other two, are you also joining this room, or are you going to hang back?
I think that the whole point of the pause and pausing everywhere is to allow for deviation. So I guess I would flow over to there, perhaps gently guiding Marigold along.
Speaking of pause, I kind of like look. I kind of clock. May say, "I need to go stab something," and I go, "Sure." And I kind of like crouch down, and I kind of like put my hands through the floor, and I use my move Borrowed Power, and I pull an Eldritch Doggy, out of the floor. It's not an Eldritch Doggy. It's like a horrible wolf thing.
Awesome.
Um,
Is it so you're holding your hands like this, Rook? Is it a horrible, like tiny wolf, or is it like actual wolf sized?
so right now it's tiny, and I rolled a 10, so it acts perfectly. And then I kind of like toss it, and it grows.
Awesome.
And essentially, whenever you want to like stab stuff, it will help you.
Awesome. I am inside this room and I am shouting Loki's name. Are you
Yeah.
fucking messing with me right now?
There is no audible response, but the one projection that was sort of pounding against the scream, there's now a slight smirk on his face.
Awesome. I'm gonna give him the finger and I'm gonna look at that projector and I'm going to smash his sword against it.
Yeah, you do. You do it easily enough. It's a sword against
Awesome.
just like office material. Uh, and as the image fuzzes out, you can see, yeah, his expression just shifts from that slight smirk to a like shit-eating grin, and the room flashes in bright light, and there is that wave of heat that you remember feeling from his wings.
Awesome.
Am I feeling this too, or is it just May?
No, you feel it too. You see it too.
I think Leah just turns to May and like sort of frantically and says like, um, May, what's going on? Should I be looking? Are these your memories? I don't know if it should. Hmm.
I don't know if they're memories uh of what was or just different timelines, but I'm gonna go ahead and start breaking other projectors, especially the ones that has me in it with swords, like all of it. I just want to get as much. I don't know if I'm going to get as much of me out here, but I want a lot more maze to stab this guy.
Ooh.
May, if it's okay with you, the way that the puppy helps is it just pisses on Lucky's image.
Of course. Go ahead.
And then it just disappears. Okay, that's all. You continue.
Yeah, I mean, as you stab at these projectors, there are sort of continual flashes of like the light, and I think a sort of softer light from ones that include May, and the sort of crackle of light and sound.
I'm specifically wrecking the ones that only has May in it.
Oh, okay, only May.
Only
Yeah.
May. So that we are overpowering this one jackass.
So I think that as you start stabbing the ones that are only May, the images in the remaining ones that included either both of you or just Lucky change. And what would these sort of iterations of May do as they sort
What
of, yeah.
are we talking, like the ones in the projector or the ones outside of the projector?
So the ones from the projectors that you had smashed have now sort of zoomed themselves into the images, the other remaining images that you have not smashed. So they are together, sort of
Oh,
outnumbering the Maze and Lockies in these other images.
awesome. I'm going to look at all these others and I'm gonna pause for a little bit. Is the Locky outside the one the I'm gonna go, did you get yourself trapped here, or are you just a figment of my imagination?
There is a sound that comes. You don't see any speakers in this room, but it's not the sort of ball of light that is speaking to you. But you hear in what is clearly Loki's voice come from these unseen speakers. This house trapped me, and do you think you can beat it? You couldn't even defeat me.
Oh, so you're trapped here.
Aren't you?
Karma's a bitch, isn't it? I mean, I may be trapped here, but at least I'm not stuck inside a projector. Or wasn't. You should thank me. Thank me. Say
I
thank
think
you.
the sort of light coalesces into the form of Loki in front of you. And rather than thanking you, he grabs for the sword.
Well, I'm not gonna give it to him. In fact, I'm gonna poke him with it. No! This is my sword now.
You're not capable of wielding that sword correctly.
You do not get to tell me what I'm capable or not capable of.
If if we want a chance to escape this place, surely the most powerful among us should be holding.
First of all, you discount how much I hate you. I may love my friends, but I hate you more. And I will ensure that I will try my best to get them out. But if I have to stay here and murder you, I will. Do not touch this sword.
Lockie stares you down for a moment and says, "Why do you hate me, May? You would have done the exact same thing."
Would I? Would I?
For the power, for the throne, do you truly wish me to believe that you would be content sharing that for eternity?
I guess you didn't know me very well then.
Yeah, and you're not that attractive either.
You're right, he isn't.
May's great. You don't know who you're messing with.
Lockie turns his gaze on Leo and just gives you a slow once over and says nothing, just dismisses you, turns back to May.
Bitch. Um, and I am going to look at Leo and I'm gonna grab Leo's hand.
Okay.
Oh, Lockie, by the way, this is Leo.
Hi. I mean, I don't like you.
Leo, baby, don't let yourself be used like this.
Leo is letting whatever is happening happen.
And then I'm gonna look at Leo and I'm gonna put my hand on Leo's face. And I'm gonna go, baby, I think you need to go and protect yourself.
Huh?
Go back up.
I think Leo looks a little crestfallen. She clearly had some very different expectations about this moment. But I think she like very quickly tries to steel herself and says, whoever this creep is, if you're gonna fight them, you might need some backup."
And then I'm gonna look at you and I'm going to say, I wouldn't be able to survive if you get hurt.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. I'll go back up into the vents and good luck. If you need, I'll be right there, just in case. But yeah, you've got this. Yeah, they've got this. So fuck you, whoever you are, and I'll like start like limp my way up, like looking back every step at me.
And then I look at Lockie and I will say, see, that's how you love people. You make sure that they're safe and you take care of them.
I mean, you seem just fine, perfectly safe, so clearly I did nothing wrong.
Sure. Well, I'm gonna leave you here with my sword on me. And I don't know. And I'm gonna look at Oldie. Can we trap him back in the thing? Is there a way you know how to do that?
You ask this, and Lockie, I think, moves immediately. Again, doesn't try and grab the sword from you, but grasps both his hands around yours where it holds it.
And I'm going to try and avoid this grasp and again just sort of tell him that if he comes any closer, I will stab him. And I will stab him this time to make a point, but not anywhere that, you know, is like not his heart or anything, but like maybe his shoulder.
Yeah, I think that as the sword connects with his shoulder, the light sort of flashes brighter and he the light of the blade flashes brighter as a sort of aura surrounding him flashes as well. And he just sort of gets souped up into the sword.
Awesome. Now you're stuck in here. That's great. Let's go. And I'm just gonna leave the room with him inside the sword.
You hear, and only you hear, whispering in your mind. See, I knew you couldn't do it without me.
You bitch. And I'm going to put the sword on my side, and I'm gonna walk out, and I'm gonna look at the three, and I'm gonna be like, that's done. Let's go.
I'm scared to ask this, but are you okay?
I am perfect. Wonderful. Great. I am
I don't
okay.
believe you. And Marigold just walks. He didn't
I was
even.
gonna ask if you were trying to reach out, but
I guess we should go to that other one. The boring one, right, Leo?
Well, whatever you say.
Awesome.
Oh, before we go, Leo, could you show me that painting again?
Oh, of course. And I've probably had it like just around with me, and I'll take it out again. Um, yeah, it's a little different from the original, but I mean, here, yeah.
So we all saw Lackey kind of like glowing and stuff. I kind of point to the sun, which you mentioned was different from the original. And I look at May. Is this anything?
What?
I'm just kind of like pointing at the sun in the painting,
Mm-hmm.
You
just
saw
kind
it.
of like
Yeah.
sources of light. Uh, Alyssa, I don't know if you can describe what it looks like again.
yeah, so it's the field of marigolds, but there is now, well, there was before a sort of glowing sun that had expanded as Leo pulled out the painting. But now, as you watch, that sun sort of sneaks back, and the lighting in the painting itself is replaced with the glow of moonlight.
That looks much better. Don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
I prefer the moon.
You would.
That didn't answer my question.
Didn't it?
I guess it did. And Marigold walks off again.
um, oh, as Marigold sort of like separates a little bit, Leo will turn to May and ask, yeah, I mean, your sword did come out of this. Do you have any? I mean, I thought this belonged to Marigold, but do you have any connection to this?
Oh, it's the sword of that guy that I just stabbed earlier, you know?
Oh, huh. Is
Yeah.
it the real thing?
I don't know. Sure
Oh,
looks like the real thing. Works like the real thing.
I bet. Um, uh, you look pretty
It
cool holding it.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I should have been holding it a lot longer than anybody else's. This
Well,
this sword was my birthright, you can say.
I'm glad that you've been reconnected with it then.
Thank you. And then I look at the sword and say to it, my birthright.
Oh, uh, I look at the painting and say, Marigold's painting.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We should probably catch up with the others. Uh, Wait, is Roppo still here with us as well?
I think that shadow has followed you, but I think they're probably still floating along, or have paused with Marigold if Marigold is paused up there.
Yeah, we should probably go and catch up with the others.
Sure. And Leo, thank you.
Did I do anything? I mean, yeah, no, of course, you're welcome.
You did everything.
I'll keep doing that then.
I'd appreciate it. And then we'll walk with Leo to follow the others.
Yeah. So y'all continue down this path of events. I think that obviously you can't see anything because Lucky does not have a face, but you can sort of feel the sensation of eyes rolling at you, May, every time you talk to Leo.
And the more I feel that, the more I talk to Leo.
Leo is just glowing. I think this is the most confident she's ever looked in years, just having a normal conversation with a person.
Baby.
Oh my god, May wants to talk to me? That's so cool.
And as you continue sort of down these hallway events, pausing at each sort of turn, letting Chester or Vropo's shadow sort of go on ahead and figure it out, and you continue following the path that Vropo saw in their vision. You eventually reach a dead end, to which, again, there is the grate, and you know, Vropo, that through this grate is the room that you saw.
Is it possible to not fully go use my shadow magic to kind of flow into it, as opposed to actually removing the grate and all going into it? As now
Yeah,
I'm just like slightly disconnecting myself to
absolutely. And yeah, I mean, the room itself is fairly dark, and so a shadow creeping through the vent really shouldn't notify anyone. Like
orange.
oh yeah, so that's a little distinct, I suppose. So this orange shadow, orange light, sort of.
I think as it starts off orange, the way that you're getting the glow from Ripple, and as it begins to go into the room, it kind of morphs and changes, and maybe changes to be the color of the walls, and kind of almost camouflages itself as it's going around. So it does start off that orange, but maybe just continues to change as it kind of crawls, I don't know, along the wall in the ceiling.
Yeah. So tell me, Ropo, what is your connection with the spirits of the dead? I mean, you're a medium in life. Like now, can you sort of see them or feel them in general? Is that something you have to make an effort to do?
I think that, as with death, usually always being there, always speaking, always, I think that that pervasive sense of death is always around. It's very much a kind of, you're shutting it out. The robber is shutting it out, or being single-minded of focus so as not to lose themselves in some way, kind of holding themselves together because it is always there, and maybe that becomes more heightened, or depending on the focus that they put onto things.
Okay, so as you sort of ooze is the wrong word, but sort of flow into this room, you can feel that the connection you have with death, which is always there to some degree, you can always feel it around you, stops. It's like a sensory deprivation chamber for that particular knowledge. And in the room, sort of lying down on a little couch, is a figure wearing sort of a paint splattered dress with a mass of curly black hair. And they turn to you and their hair parts and they say, "Oh, it's you again. Are you here to finish things off now?"
I think I've Ripple felt that absence is death. The form that is with the others kind of reels back as if there's a kind of blow, but and the robes collapse, and they are with the rest of themselves in that room, and like it's just this kind of shape that doesn't really have a real form other than the hint of a face, but that's glitching out. It's like, is that what you want me to do?
The head turns and the hair sort of falls over the face and parts again, and it's a different face. This one a little more intent. And it looks at you and says, "Oh, you've already done it. I can feel the tear in the veil coming from you. How did you manage without me?"
There was Michael, perhaps, but are you? Will you help me? Are you? Will ending you break this?
Another shift, another face appears, laughing musically. "Oh no, you can't get out of it that easily. You know deep down the only way to break that veil is to kill your paramour. You can't simply kill me instead."
I think that that form tries to coalesce and I would like to try and use soul like a steel trap, almost as if to try and bring myself together and perhaps, hopefully, see if I can recall something, perceive something of this. Oh wow, I'm rolling badly. Okay, well I had darkness tokens, so I got a 3 on the dice, but I would like to spend 4 of my darkness tokens.
So you need an 8 plus for success.
Yeah, so I rolled a 4.
Oh, I sorry, I heard
And
3.
yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, sorry, I've got a 3 on one and 1
Okay.
on the other. Yeah.
Okay. What 2 questions would you like to ask?
So I would like what hmm. um hmm. What do the division files tell me about this? Is there some kind of allusion to this creature being or anything else other than it's the oldest house? There's nothing really that we know. What can it tell me?
Yeah, I think that The division files on the oldest house are sparse, but there are mentions of this creature nested deep within the house itself, connected to the house itself. And this is the oldest witch, who you are supposed to trust according to some version of yourself. It's not, there's nothing illusory about them. And I think that you also know that the type of power it takes to sort of seal this room off from death is massive, incalculable.
Okay. And hmm. What how could we best end this quickly? Like, obviously this creature is tied to the house, and I am kind of like that version of me before that trusted the witch very clearly possibly was much further along that path to doing what the darkness demanded than this one, though I am inching my way there. There are things that I have done, but there's also the part that is like, no, I must steel myself, and we need to end this house to save everyone trapped here and all of the division agents that are trapped here. How do we end this? Is it through this or through something else?
Yeah. The person looks at you and their eyes go sad, though it's still the smiling, laughing face. And they say, "Oh, sweet thing, you can't remember, can you? The ritual, everything we had planned. Do you need me to remind you?"
There's a stutter and they change again. The kind of sort of outline of their face seems to age and sag, and it's like I you're right. I don't remember. Tell me, what what do I need to do?
The face changes to the sort of analytical mask, and it says, "The house is not collapsing, but it's running out of space. It's starting to eat itself. It needs further room to grow. And what better place to grow than into death? We could expand so much further. We would stabilize ourselves. Wouldn't have all these issues of people getting trapped anymore. And all it would take to stabilize, and we could let you go after that, is to allow us into death, to open up that veil and let us plant ourselves there. And you promised to help me. I've prepared everything I need for the ritual. We need to invite death in, and it's a small sacrifice really for everything that the house could do for you."
Looks like the cat isn't so scary now, is he?
I think I'm I'm looking at the this whole thing is very tempting. Is there a thing that
Uh-huh.
should I be looking at
Let's
something
see.
to do something?
If you'd like to be torn between
there
You
is
are.
definitely an element of being torn between here. It's very much like I should do the things that hold this world together, but I could change everything. I could make everything different. I could make things work in the way that I want them to. So I definitely think, hmm, I think perhaps, do I have bond? There is that sharing. Like I've already kind of separated myself from all of them, but perhaps there is still a little bit of myself up there with the rest of them, and almost like a little bit of a curling of orange shadow that didn't, and that is curled around Marigold's ankle, perhaps. And I think that I would choose to go for the spending a bond with Marigold. And I think it's that kind of almost pulling myself together to do these things, to bring this thing into fruition. And as that little part of myself is being pulled back in, it's almost like it doesn't want to leave. And it's and so I don't know if you feel a little bit of a tug, Marigold, or like around your ankle, but it's that push pull of part of myself that kind of makes me want to step back, and I guess this form backs away from the witch.
Marigold, you can't see or hear anything that's happening in this room, but you do feel this tug from Ropo. What do you do?
Um, between us and Ropo it's the grate, right? It's not like a solid wall. It's just cool. I kick the grate out. Like I try and just like completely just like
Yeah, easy enough. It clatters to the ground, and you see Ropo standing there, now a little bit further from this figure splayed out on the couch that turns its heads towards you and just as quickly dismisses it, focuses back on Ropo and says, "You can't keep trying different sacrifices. It won't work. We need death. You can't. I appreciate the offer of these friends, but
I don't. Did I? Who did I sacrifice? I don't. Who did I sacrifice?
um the face shifts to the laughing one and mimes zipping its mouth closed.
There is definitely a feeling of horror as like this form kind of flows back to where uh, Marigold now is, and away, and it's thinking.
Yeah, the witch sort of sighs as you flow back and stands from the couch and looks at the group. Did Leo and May follow into the room?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think uh Leo would is still like reactive to things happening, so I think she'd like, oh, okay, Marigold's gone now. Whoop, jumps down the hall.
May's in the room as well with the cat. I mean, I feel like I'm vindicated right here, right now. I feel
Well,
like
okay.
I'm being vindicated
Or
so far from what I've
nothing
heard.
in the oldest house is trustworthy. Maybe.
Yeah. I think I'm not sure it quite describes exactly what's going on, but I definitely think that I'm gonna mark the condition distracted. Or at least in that kind of like there are so many things going on I can't quite grasp it in
Yeah,
that sense. Yeah.
great. Yeah, so the figure stands and turns to the group and sighs and lowers its head so that the curtain of hair falls over its faces again and dips into a curtsy and says, I suppose I should introduce myself, and this time, when it rises, when the hair shifts away from its face, it is a sort of stoic mask, but there are sort of fangs descending from the slightly open mouth. I'm the eldest witch, and you are in my home.
How do we leave your home?
We would be happy to release you. It's simply the house, as I was telling your friend here, the house is starving now. It needs a further place to grow. It's if it were able to just extend a little bit more, but it's already taken up so much. You just help with this little ritual and it will have the power. I will have the power again to control the doors to let you go.
No, no. It it will if we help, then that's it. That's the end of everything.
I liked you so much better the last time, Robo. It's the end of this, but it's the start of so much more. Just think. And then turning to Marigold, your beloved Michael. I mean, he was the first step. We could keep him safe, bring him back again, truly, fully, not just the shade you saw before.
No, don't listen to
Yeah,
it's
if it sounds like it wants to trap your husband in this house again.
No, no, no. I'm not tempted. You see, my husband lived a good life. My husband lived 80 years and died peacefully. Do not bring me into whatever narcissistic blasphemy you are planning to do with my good friend Ropo here. And I like half-heartedly, I just kind of like chuck like a dagger out of nowhere, just like at. I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Like, not even trying to harm, just like, oh.
Stop it.
No.
Yeah, it sort of nonchalantly bats it away with a tendril of hair.
I'm gonna look at Oldie and I'm gonna go, do you know how we can just get out of here? I'll bring you with me. I'm talking to the cat, not you.
Okay.
Ugly witch face, you with the
It's
fangs.
just a little confusing because they both have oldie in their name. So, um, the cat sort of has been staring, fixated on the witch this whole time. But as you ask, he bats his head up against yours and says, You can't leave. You can't leave before the door must be closed before your door can open. If you simply leave, then everything is in vain.
How do I close the door? Does it involve stabbing things? Because I have the stuff to stab.
You can feel the claws on Oldie's paws sort of dig into your shoulder a little bit, not in a way intended to hurt, more sort of grounding.
Mhm.
And they hiss and look at the witch and say, "If you must stab, that is does not seem like a bad place to start."
Cool. Sounds good to me.
Uh, After hearing this witch threaten Ropo and try to tempt Marigold, very begrudgingly, following the instructions of the cat, will step forward and hold out a hand towards the witch and say, "All right, well, I don't know you, and I wanted to trust you, but if you don't let us out, I'll be forced to do something I don't want to do."
The
And May
witch
would walk behind Leo. I, on the other hand, would be forced to do something I really want to do.
The witch looks at you, Leo, and now it's a face with just like the biggest, saddest eyes, and it says, "Sweet, sweet Leo, you should never be forced to do something you don't want to do. If you're so scared all the time, if you simply wouldn't you like to simply give up that power, that responsibility? It wouldn't be enough to free you, but it could be a start."
So, one of the things that the darkness demands of Leo is to destroy everything around her for the slightest trespass. And while she is very aware of who she is, to have someone condescend to her, what she reads as condescension, about what she believes she has been afflicted with, leaves no grounds for mercy in this moment, especially as she feels so reactive and finicky. So I think she, without saying another word, eyes go blank and she unleashes the darkness as she tries to unleash the horde within her at this witch.
Yeah,
May
let's go.
smiles. The biggest fucking smile ever.
Let's see. Um, let's see. Oh, okay. So that was a 5, but where is it? I have a move that allows me to do fun things when I fail rolls. Okay, so my heart's eclipse. Whenever I roll a miss, I can choose to have my power surge beyond my control, causing great collateral damage around me. So I'm going to make that miss a hit uh using my heart's eclipse. Um and would you like me to describe what the unleashing of Leo's powers look like?
Please.
So at first, I think when she starts to get agitated, the fingers in her face and parts of her exposed skin starts to wriggle a little bit, and as she commits to unleashing this, her body looks as though it physically falls away to pieces, and hand, limbs, legs, they look as though they bloom from the larger exposed gaps before receding and then exploding out of Leo's body.
Yeah, and what do they do to help you with this witch?
They so it looks as though a horde of like gormless statues, some equipped with like, marble or like limestone spears, others with just who look like perfectly carved Adonises that just swing in with like their fists. but they just fly towards this witch, attempting to um, just unmake them with violence.
Okay, as the sort of as the weapons draw and as these statues fly towards the witch, she just smirks at you. And the first time that one stabs into her, you can feel the house around you shudder. And as the weapons continue to come towards the witch, there is no sign of physical damage being done to them, but the building itself, like it's sort of rapidly changing and remaking itself around you. The room shifts. You can feel yourself sort of moving up and down across the building. You can hear sort of things outside collapsing and rebuilding and reforming, as it seems as though the witch and the house are connected. And as she is sort of reforming her body to not be harmed by this attack, so too is the house reforming. And actually, go ahead and grasp it keys for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Da-da-da-da. Oh my goodness. I am going to. Can I get that 28 actually? Yes, I can. Wait. How much bond do I have? I will spend 2 bond with May and 1 bond with Marigold, thinking about the people I'm attempting to protect in this instance to make that 5 into an 8.
Yeah. So, as all of this is happening and your statues are attacking this witch who is quickly reforming and the building is reforming around you, in one of the sort of waves of attack, a heart appears outside of the witch's chest and tumbles towards your hands. And this, I mean, it looks like just a literal, like, human heart. And it is beating slowly, but there is wrapped around one of the ventricles is a little like almost like a mortuary foot tag. Is a little tag, and you recognize on it a symbol of division.
Um, Leo in this moment is like quite literally accordioned, like her body is in like pieces. So like this like fissured hand sort of like uh has the laxatively like reaches down for it, but like will sort of hold it in her hand as like this is taking place.
And almost in time with the beating heart, I am going to mark the doomsday clock again because I think I have to catch up. And in time with the beating of the heart is sort of chanting that comes suddenly from the ceiling. And it's rhythmic and almost soothing. But then above it rises another voice, a familiar voice, something you recognize from your time in Division, in the Division headquarters. And it says, "Attention, Omen class monsters! We are in a real pickle here. The threads of time cannot take much more, and we are running out of chances. You must proceed. Please, take caution."
Well, that was horrifying.
Yep.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. That was something we all heard, or just
Yeah, everyone hears
okay,
this.
cool. I think I think Leo is still very busy with whatever is happening with her and the statues. But we'll like hold out the heart to whoever is around that can like better examine it at this moment.
May will grab it and look at it because May is very impressed at whatever Leo is doing, and it's just like, sure, I'll take care of this, whatever this is, and it's just gonna look at the heart, and then look at Marigold and Robo. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this?
May, you recognize that I doubt that you did this very much in the field, but this is clearly something that has come from evidence at Division. It's the sort of artifact that you would be tasked with like taking in the field and, backing up so the scientists at your organization could study it better.
Should I put it in my pocket? Is that what we're doing here? Should I hide it? Keep it in a box? May isn't a very good Division agent.
I, Rook, have an unhinged idea that Marigold absolutely would not suggest. However, I'm going to suggest it in case one of you are unhinged enough to.
What is it?
What if you just stabbed it with the sun sword or the moon sword? Now, I
Stab the
guess.
thing?
Oh my goodness!
Stab the heart? I don't think that's what Leo would want me to do.
Leo fully is not paying attention to what is happening. With
If
you two right
Leo
now.
was
Leo is
paying
a cheese
attention,
string right now.
if Leo was paying attention, if May and Leo's relationship were as strong as May thinks it is, May will understand what Leo, who is currently in a cheese string moment right now, what would Leo do is what May is thinking right now. What would Leo do? Leo would definitely not stab this heart with a sword that I have in my hand right now.
What Marigold would actually suggest would be like just point at Roper and just be like, give it to them. They're the ones who know stuff.
Right. Well, here you go, Robo. Wait, no! I can absorb shit.
You can absorb shit.
I will absorb this to protect it.
5 steps ahead.
That's good, I think, because Roppo is almost trying to listen for something that they can't really hear. They can't, like, they're not focused on the situation.
Okay, so
Not
May's
really.
gonna look at Leo and I'm like, well, I'm gonna keep it safe and absorb it. That feels like just turn me into a fireproof box, I guess, moment there. Don't worry, it'll be safe inside me for sure. I can figure out how to get it out later, but it'll be inside me because I don't foresee myself getting stabbed in any way. So that's great.
Yeah, no one here
could
wants to
change
stab
that.
you.
Don't worry about it. Even if they do want to stab me, I doubt they'll be able to because I am May. That is May's thinking.
That's how that works. Yeah.
You can feel like the hilt of the sword almost like flashes hot for a second, as if like reminding you, like, no, but I really will stab you the second I can.
The feeling is
yeah.
mutual. But yes.
Yeah. How does it look when you absorb this heart? Does it just sort of sink into
It
you?
sinks into my hand, but it doesn't come out of the other side. It just sort of like feels like, it just goes in. I don't know where it goes, but I have a feeling that it just gets absorbed into me. Do I feel any changes when this human heart is absorbed into me?
Yeah, you
Sweet.
absolutely do. Um, or rather, you don't feel changes,
Hmm.
but you do feel. And it's just, you can feel suddenly all of the changes that are happening to the house around you. Your awareness of where you are and of what the house is doing spreads. And in that, you can feel its panic, not at you and not at what you're doing. For some reason, it seems confident that you are not going to damage it irrevocably, which is silly because you're trying pretty hard. Your friend here is trying pretty hard to damage it irrevocably right now. But there is panic at the sort of edges of your consciousness and almost like a ping in a map that projects across your brain and the sort of feeling of infiltrators. This is not someone I invited. There are unwelcome guests in the house,
Ooh.
and sort of feeling on the map of 3 different locations where that is currently happening.
Hmm. I am going to see if I can control the house with this heart inside me.
Ooh.
Yeah, what would you try? What would you
I'm
like
going
the
to
house to
make
try and do?
the house move those 3 locations to be right next to us. So it's easy for me to just open doors and hey, look at that. We don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll a what is it? Unleash the Dark? Yes. No, a power through darkness for me.
Sweet. And do I add anything to that?
If you want to spend, I'll give you just like you can have a free plus or minus 2,
Alright.
because you just ate a heart.
Sweet. So 5, 6, 7, 8, and you said +2, 9, 10.
Yeah. So
Sweet.
that's a perfect hit. You can feel the house sort of, and everyone else can also now feel the house sort of rumbling around you. And it takes a bit of effort, a bit of focus. But you may are able to pull these rooms closer to you. And 3 simple, cheap doors pop onto the walls of the room that you're currently in. And the cat jumps down from your shoulders and stands in front of them and looks back at you and says, "Thank you. You've done it." And that is where we're going to end the session for this week.
Before we end, can I look at my sword and go, see, you can't do shit like that. And then that's it.
Poor bullied Loki, who has never done anything wrong to Maine specific in his entire life. Yeah. So let's go ahead and go through outros if anyone has anything to promote, starting in reverse order with Glyza.
Hey, let me just, I'm prepared for this. Cool. Hey, I'm Glaza. I go by they, them. I am a person of many hats. I am a podcast host, a writer, variety streamer, a talk show host, director of philanthropy over here at TTRPG, where we're at, as well as a partner on the Gremlin Collective. Today I was in front of you as a TTRPG personality, and I played May, the fallen god who doesn't really act like they're fallen in any way, because they're a god, whatever. I am in a lot of shows, but I've started to dwindle that down, which is great, because I am very tired. But it's worth it. To see all the stuff I'm in, you can just go to bio.link/classical Glyza. It does have my schedule, which I updated last night. So if you look at it, it's updated. Yeah. But for everywhere else, you can look for me at Classical Glyza. That's everywhere on the socials. That's Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, even Blue Sky. For whatever reason, I've managed to get an invite. Yeah. But I'm still on Twitter most of the time while it's still running. And I don't know how long will that'll be, but I'll be there to turn the lights off. The thing that I am doing this week is Book Club Wednesdays, where I will be reading Animorphs. I'm going to be picking up from book 3. We're going to be reading all 54 books, and that means also the bonus books. So 64 really altogether. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. And you can catch me back here again on Sunday with this amazing crew because I'm having a great time, and I hope you are too. And that's it for me. I'm going to pass it to Lola.
I'm Robo. Definitely. Yes. Also Lola. I have been just embodying Robo. I can be found as Third Yarns on pretty much everything, and I'm gonna do a promote for my yarn because I'm making fun, amazing things, and I'm doing a yarn club that is Shadow and Bone inspired. So if you like yarn and you like working with it and you want a bag that has amazing fabric that is designed by me that is inspired by Shadow and Bone, like head over to Favorite Yarns and check that out. And yeah, more yarn. I'm gonna hand over to Castro.
Hello, I have been Kestrel and I've played Leo today. You can find me on Twitter at holocompass_. And I am a podcast editor. You can listen to my works on projects such as Blood of Mouth and Monsterfuckers Anonymous, which will be having an episode coming out, I believe, next Saturday. So if you like hearing people talk about wanting to fuck creepypastas, I don't know why you would, but you can, and you can find that wherever you get your podcasts. And I'll pass it on to Rook.
Hello, I am Rook. I don't have anything to promote, but when I do, you can find all of that stuff at RJK Games on Twitter, which I'm only really active on when I'm told to retweet stuff, or sometimes I stream on Twitch. On that link tree, you can also buy my games, which are sad and gay and excellent. And you can also find my blog, which is full of poetry that is sad and gay. I have an MO. I'm muting myself. Goodbye.
And I have been Alyssa. You can find me on Twitter at A Disaster Queer and also on the podcast Goblets and Gays and the new podcast An Unwavering Force, which is an all BIPOC LGBTQ led Star Wars podcast AP. That's super fun. I'm super excited about it. And yeah, thank you all so much. And we will see you next Sunday.
Bye.